morning. I call on the Leader of the Opposition, elected member for Georgetown North, to read prayers.
Thank you. Let us pray. Almighty God, from whom all wisdom and power are derived, we beseech thee so to direct and prosper the deliberations of the Parliament now assembled, that all things may be ordered upon the best and surest foundation for the glory of thy name and for the safety, honor, and welfare of the people of these islands. Bless our sovereign King Charles III, William, Prince of Wales, and all the royal family. Give grace to all who exercise authority in our Commonwealth, that peace and happiness, truth and justice, religion and piety may be established among us. Especially we pray for the Governor of our islands, the Premier, the Speaker of the Parliament, the Leader of the Opposition, Ministers of the Cabinet, ex officio members, members of the Parliament, the Chief Justice, and members of the Judiciary, that we may be enabled faithfully to perform the responsible duties of our high office. All this we ask for thy great name's sake. Let us say the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. May the Lord bless us and keep us. May the Lord make his face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. The Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon us and give us peace now and always. Amen.
Please be seated.
Administration of oaths or affirmations.
None.
Reading by the Honorable Speaker of Messages and Announcements.
I have apologies from Mr. Roy Tatum, member for Raid Bay, and Mr. Dwayne Seymour, member for Bordentown East, who will both be arriving late.
Personal explanations.
None.
Presentation of papers and reports.
None.
Urgent questions.
None.
Questions to members of the government. Question number 7. Can the Honorable Minister...
No.
Okay.
Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
The Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition, elected member for Georgetown Central, to ask the Honorable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing, and Infrastructure. Question number 7.
Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the question standing in my name on the order paper. Question number 7 to the Honourable Minister for Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Can the Honourable Minister say how many affordable houses have been built in the last 4 years, and does the Minister intend to build affordable housing in the District of Georgetown? Mr. Speaker, I do recognize that the Minister addressed much of this in his last questioning yesterday, but formally have to ask the question, sir.
Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, over the past 4 years, a total of 39 affordable homes have been completed through the National Housing Development Trust under the Affordable Housing Initiative, the Build on Your Own Property program. With respect to Georgetown, and the government does intend to proceed with the development of affordable housing in the districts, and the NHDT has been tasked with preparing the necessary procurement documents and support the development of its vacant sites in Georgetown, ensuring that there is to utilize to their full potential. This initiative forms part of the government's broader national housing strategy, which aims to expand access to affordable housing in the Cayman across the districts of the Cayman Islands.
Are there any supplementaries? Next question, Madam Clerk.
The elected member for Red Bay to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agricultural, Housing and Infrastructure. Question number 8.
Member for Reed Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the following question in my name. Can the Honourable Minister advise whether the work undertaken in 2023 and or 2024 by individuals from the UK's Department for Transport to support plans for a modern public transport system has been completed, and if so, when will the findings or the report be made public?
Honourable Minister of Planning.
Mr. Speaker, the consultant from the UK Department of Transport is currently supporting the Ministry in preparing the strategic outline case for a modern public transportation system in the Cayman Islands. The SOC will offer a high-level assessment of transport challenges, options, and delivery models, serving as the foundation of the future decision-making. It is expected to be completed by the end of summer of 2025. Once finalized, the report will be submitted to Cabinet for review and direction. The Ministry will determine the appropriate timing and the format for the public release following the internal and Cabinet level consideration.
Member for Reed Bay.
Nothing further than say I look forward to getting sight of that at some point. Public transport is a huge, huge issue for us here. Thanks.
Next question.
The elected member for Red Bay to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Question number 9.
Member for Reed Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Honourable Minister, can the Honourable Minister advise whether there are formal agreements in place, including required timelines between the National Roads Authority and utility companies, in particular the 2 water companies, to ensure the full reinstatement of roads that have been damaged because of repair works or other activities carried out beneath or along public roads?
Minister for Planning, Agricultural, Housing and Infrastructure.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, yes, there is a formal policy and an established framework in place between the National Roads Authority and the utility providers, including both water companies, governing the reinstatement of roads after utility works under the Section 25 of the Roads Act. The NRA has the legal authority to regulate how utility infrastructure is placed and maintained within public roads. All utility providers known as statutory undertakes must apply for and receive a permit from NRA before carrying out trenching or other road works. They are fully responsible for the cost and the quality of the reinstatement. Standard practices require temporary reinstatement immediately after trenching to maintain safety and access to the final asphalt paving. It is typically completed within a few weeks, subject to contractor scheduling and coordination of logistics. In some cases, works in the same area are strategically grouped to reduce disruption and minimize the repeat mobilization. The NRA holds the regular coordination meetings with the utility providers to align the work and schedule anticipate future needs, including upgrades tied to major development projects, This helps ensure that the road works in integrity into the NRA broader capital planning whenever possible. If a utility provider fails to meet the requirement reinstatement standards, the NRA can enforce compliance by requesting the corrective work or withholding future permits until the matter is resolved. This process provides clear oversight and ensures accountability and allows work to proceed without the needing formal penalties under the law. The ministry is satisfied that the framework is effective in managing the road reinstatement following the utility activity.
Member for Red Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I may have missed it, but I did not hear whether there was anyone charged with actually monitoring to make sure the repairs are done in a timely manner, and if there isn't, is that possible?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, that is correct. We do have someone that goes out and makes sure that repairs are done and the timing matter when they're supposed to be done, and that all falls with the director, and sometimes I think he would delegate those powers to someone else that goes out for them. But we do go out to make sure and assess the way that roads are fixed, and we also have looked in to coordinate a little bit more with them. That now, whereas a lot of the utility companies used to use cold patches before to patch in, we're starting to get now to force them where they have to use island paving to come out and do physical patches for them, so that we can make sure that we're getting the road standards done at the way that we need to keep it going.
Member for Red Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Minister. I had a very good meeting with some of the folks from the NRA, and they did state their concerns about roads sometimes not being fully reinstated. So can I ask, I was promised to receive some information from them with regard to some roads. Can I ask the Minister, please, if I submit a list to him, if he could try to get to me?
Member, I think if you are going to refer to a meeting that you had with the NRA, I think that's outside the bounds of the question. I think you need to write the Minister and outline what the answers that you want. So
that's fine. I'll skip that part, so and let's get to the point I want to make, if that's fine with you, sir, which is that I wonder if the Honourable Minister would be able to provide me with, from the NRA, a listing of the roads within the Red Bay constituency and any timelines that they're aware of in terms of the repairs being done. I could receive that in writing. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, seeing that the member has already taken up that task with I assume somebody at NRA, as he said, then I would just leave it in his hands and continue down that way. But if it does not work out, sir, you can always find me, and I will be able to provide that in writing to you.
Next question. Oh, sorry. Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Minister give any updates in respect to the road between Eastern Avenue and the waterfront and the timeline, if he has it available? If not, I can have it in writing, that's fine.
Yeah, Minister, if you want to undertake it in writing, that's fine, because that's a little bit outside of the bounds of this question.
Mr. Speaker, I don't mind putting it back in writing to the member, but I can just give him a brief update quickly. Right to the minute, there are a few homes that are left to get to come out to the Eastern Avenue that we're having to deal with and negotiate with some land acquisition purchases. So as soon as we get those under control, then we will be able to finish the completion of that. As a time frame, I can't tell you what a time frame is until we are able to acquire the last few pieces of properties at the very end of the road, which is at the basically from the stoplight come back. And so it's about, I think it's about 3 properties that we need to finish purchase.
The elected member for Red Bay to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure, question number 10.
Member for Raid Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 10 in my name to the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Can the Honourable Minister provide an update on the Bimley Drive to Selkirk Drive connection road, including any potential timeline for gazettal and paving of the road? Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Ministry is actively progressing the Bimley Drive to Selkirk Connector Road Boundary Plan 660, which has evolved into a more comprehensive road scheme aimed to significantly improve traffic efficiency in the Grand Harbour area. Boundary Plan 660 officially will be gazetted once the following two preconditions are satisfied: is finalization and agreement of a parking layout feasibility assessment with Grand Harbour and the merchants, and the selection of a qualified engineer design firm through the opening tender process. The road paving and related works will proceed following the gazettal of the land acquisitions and the completion of the detailed engineering designs. The Ministry remains fully committed to delivering the strategic infrastructure project and will continue to provide updates as further progress is made, particularly as the key milestones are achieved.
Member for Raid Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Honourable Minister, I appreciate this. Seems like there's a fair bit of stuff left to be done, but in your head, do you have any idea of timelines that you're looking for this to actually be achieved in terms of a potential date? Are we talking this year? Are we talking at some point next year?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, at this point, I cannot give a timeline on that, but if it's okay with the member, I will be able to find out maybe and get back to you in writing on it. But what I can say is that the NRAs basically looking to do is our completion is to try to complete the connector road by CUC and the Kings roundabout and connecting that to Edgewater, which then leads on to BP 660. What we want to do is to see how if we can finish up all of that within this year, and looking to fix the intersection by Hurley's this year. And then I can tell you one of the mandates is that we are looking at the east-west after that, and where we can fill in. But as a timeline right now, no, I cannot give an answer on it.
Member for Raid Bay. Mr. Speaker, I thank the Minister for that. I would implore him, though, to see if there's any consideration that could be done with making the road more, the current connection road more passable. Thank you.
The elected member for Georgetown East to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure, question number 11.
Member for Georgetown East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 11 on the order paper standing in my name, which reads, can the Honourable Minister advise whether government intends to proceed with the ongoing work related to the environmental impact assessment for the proposed extension of the Owen Roberts International Airport runway?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, yes, the government intends to proceed with the environmental impact assessment for the proposed Owen Roberts International runway extension. The terms of the reference and environmental impact assessments were tendered and awarded in 2024.
Member for Georgetown East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wonder if the Minister could say whether they have any sort of time frame in mind as to when the assessment will be completed and made available to the public.
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, not at the moment, sir.
Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the minister say whether, obviously in light of the new formulation of the government, that this project for the runway extension is a part of the government's future proposed strategic policy? Because obviously the strategic policy statement isn't coming for now. Just want to know if it's a part of the policy to still continue with this project.
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I want to start back by saying, yes, the government intends to proceed with the environmental impact assessment. Right? So, Speaker, I would tell you, with the challenges that we have now financially, if the government had no intentions of moving forward and going in that direction, I don't see why we would have been trying to get this environmental impact done. There would be a significant savings there, but so just showing that we're out to do that has to give him some guarantee that the government is looking to move forward with the road. Well, I'm sorry, with the airport expansion. So I hope that answers the member question.
Next question. Go ahead.
Can the Honourable Minister advise whether the government intends to introduce reforms to public schools governance and that would empower both school principals and leadership teams with greater management responsibility and provide for more direct involvement by parents and business leaders?
Member for Georgetown East.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 12 on the order paper standing in my name, which reads, can the Honourable Minister advise whether the government intends to introduce reforms to public school governance that would both empower school principals and leadership teams with greater management responsibility and provide for more direct involvement by parents and business leaders?
Honourable Minister responsible for education and training.
Mr. Speaker, the answer: the Minister of Education and Training is conducting research as a part of a wider review of education reform and improvement.
Next question.
The Honourable Deputy Speaker, elected member for Georgetown West, to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure, question number 13.
Member for Georgetown West, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the question number 13 in my name to the Honourable Minister for Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Can the Honourable Minister advise whether there is a scheduled and regular reviewed maintenance program for drains in flood-prone areas within Georgetown?
Honourable Minister for Planning.
Mr. Speaker, yes, the National Roads Authority has scheduled and regular review maintenance program for stormwater drainage and wells across Grand Cayman, including those located in flood-prone areas of Georgetown. At present, the NRA maintains approximately 4,700 public road drains in areas known to be more prone to flooding. Maintenance activity is increased in weeks leading up to the rainy season.
Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Honourable Minister say if there's any plans to expand the complement of NRA to deal with roads, road drains?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, one of the things I can say is that since taking over as Minister of the NRA, we have put together a crew that is dedicated for road drainage in this country. And that's all they do, is they go around, they measure every well, they pump it out, then after they turn around, they measure it again to just see what was in the well, what was the difference, if the well has collapsed. If it has collapsed, they make a report of it, and then we'll go back out and re-drill it. Those wells that have been 6-inch wells, we go back and we're trying to bore those a little bit bigger to make those into 10s and 8s, especially in areas that we know that needs larger wells. So yes, there is a dedicated crew, and hopefully one of these days, you know, with the support of the opposition for the budget coming up, hopefully we can find some money, and maybe we can expand a little bit more onto the well system. But maybe not just about maintaining wells, but owning our own equipment to be able to drill wells so that we can get wells done when we need them on time at a regular base, but also go into the direction of getting injection wells done when we want to get them done. Because I know even though it's over 4,700 wells throughout the island, there are still areas that need a lot more wells. And not only does this crew maintain the wells, but they also look at maintaining the culverts also and keeping them clean. That's why in the last couple of years we've been able to maintain the water flow that's been in Randike Gardens and those areas like in Cumber, in Bordentown also, where we're able to keep the water level down, where part is not actually, it's getting close, but it wasn't getting into people's homes, basically. And hopefully we can continue to do the good works that NR has been doing to be able to continue to pump the water fast enough and get that into the locations and get it out from those areas that we don't have to put the people in those low-lying areas at risk. Just recently, we cleaned out some of the culverts headed from Washington Boulevard, going down towards the Estela Tibbetts, cutting across to the dump. I was there about months ago, and I can tell you, by just opening that, we had 1 or 2 culverts that was closed. And by opening that, it was days and days that water was actually just draining out from that area. So we are well maintaining those areas and keeping that up. By me doing my job, allows the people not to have to call you and harass you all with saying that water is coming into their homes and their roads aren't being flooded as much. So yes, the NRA is trying to do as best as they can with what resources we have. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to say the minister has my full support in getting any extra budgeting necessary in the upcoming budget so he can expand so we can keep the people dry.
Member for Georgetown East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to the minister, I want to say I've noticed a real improvement in the work of the NRA in responding to requests and in taking advanced work in blowing out wells and stuff before the rains come. The situation for me is perennially the Randike area, you know that. The problem I have is that there are many, many wells that have been placed down in Randike, none of which really work very well because of the lowness of it. However, there are a number of them that have collapsed. They no longer function. And I noticed you said, you did say in your response that you go back.
Can we get a question here?
Yeah, I'm asking him really if you could have his people to go back and look at those to see if they can be re-drilled and provide some, put some more, give some additional relief because that place floods so easy. The work you did last year with those 2 big pumps worked for a while, but the underground wells fill very quickly. So thank you, sir. Looking for a little bit of help with that.
I don't think there's any question to answer, Minister. Member for Georgetown West, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the minister say if this is a set schedule or ad hoc situation?
Mr. Speaker, to answer the question of whether it's a set schedule or ad hoc, I could not answer that right at the moment. I know the guys have their own iPad that they go out with, and they know where the most flooded prone areas are, and that's the areas that they go out and they make sure that all of those areas are cleaned well before we get into that rainy season. But usually if if they're starting in West Bay, they kind of mostly just hit most of the wells coming, or if they're coming from the eastern side, and try to hit as all of them on their way out and do as many as they can. So there's not like they're just running multiple all over the place. So they kind of schedule a run when they're in the eastern side of the island, that they try to just clean all of the wells one time and work their way back to Georgetown, and basically for the other crew that will be coming out from the West Bay side.
Member for Georgetown West, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the minister identify if this is, how many persons is actually on the team to address this concern?
Mr. Speaker, at the moment, I think there is 2 trucks on the road. There may be one that's down right now, but there is a team of 2 in each vehicles, and that's all we need to go around. It's basically very simple. It's basically just lifting the manhole cover out, putting a pump down in there, pumping it out, washing it back out, making sure the well is clean. At one point in time, we had one individual doing it. It was a little bit stringent on the one person, so we added an extra person to the vehicle. And also for safety matters too, it was easier to have 2 people at all times. So usually there's around about a crew of about 6 to 8 that will be somewhere around there. But right now, there's 1 truck that needs some work on it. Yeah.
Member for Raid B.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wonder if the minister would advise whether or not, and I'm asking because I really don't know, whether or not the NRA and also planning consider the impacts, the possibility of flooding when they're doing road works and are looking at the developments that are being built or requesting planning permission to be built.
I think that's a little bit outside the maintenance schedule, so maybe you can write the minister and ask him about it. If there are no other supplementaries, that concludes question time.
Statements by members of the government.
I have received notice and approved a statement by the Honourable Minister for Tourism and Trade Development.
Mr. Speaker, at this time I don't have that, sir.
Okay, all right. Next item on the agenda.
Presentation of petitions,
None.
obituary and other ceremonial speeches.
I would like to do a short obituary on Miss Anita Solomon Breezer, who was a member of the staff here and died recently. I wish to offer condolences to the family of Miss Anita Solomon Breezer. As many of you are aware, Miss Anita was the housekeeper and messenger at the Parliament for a number of years, up until August of last year, when she retired on medical grounds. Unfortunately, Anita passed away on the 25th of May after about a year and a half of being critically ill. Miss Anita was associated with the Parliament for about 30 years. She first started coming to the Legislative Assembly to assist her Aunt Mary, who was the housekeeper at the time. She stayed on at the LA after her aunt passed and because employed as the housekeeper and messenger. She enjoyed working at the Parliament and developed long-lasting relationships with some of the members and staff over the many years. She was dedicated to her job and was loved and appreciated by all those with whom she interacted over the years. I wish to convey our deepest sympathy to her husband of 14 years, Devon, and her son Peter on behalf of the members and staff of the Parliament. Thank you.
Raising of matters of privilege.
None.
Other business. Private members' motion number 1 of 2025, motion to decriminalize speeding in no-wake zones. to be moved by the Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition, elected member for Georgetown Central, and seconded by the elected member for Bordentown East.
Deputy Leader of the Opposition, member for Georgetown Central, motion number 1, 2025-26, standing in your name.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the motion standing in my name, motion to decriminalize speeding in a no-wake zone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to second the motion.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to present and debate a motion that at its core speaks not only to the fairness in law, but to justice, to opportunity, and to our collective responsibility as legislators. The motion before this Honorable House, Mr. Speaker, is a simple one, but significant: to decriminalize speeding in a no-wake zone. Mr. Speaker, just recently I had a conversation with a young man from my constituency throughout the campaign. A Caymanian with ambitions to live a bright and promising life. He told me that a few years ago, when he was barely out of his teens, Mr. Speaker, he was ticketed for operating a personal watercraft at more than 5 knots within 200 yards of the shoreline. And what is designated as a no-wake zone, Mr. Speaker? He paid a fine of $300, and assuming that that would probably be the least of it for him, Mr. Speaker. But he was shocked to find out later on that this seemingly minor infraction had left him with a criminal record. And Mr. Speaker, I would like to share and lay on the floor of this Honorable House a copy with the retracted name of the individual and their date of birth of his police record. And I've also asked the staff to add a copy of the retracted police record on the shared file, but I made a copy for you, Mr. Speaker, so you can see it.
Ordered, but I assume you mean redacted, not
Redacted. Sorry, you're right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Redacted. And Mr. Speaker, you can see there on the police record the infraction, and it is a criminal offense. And with that, Mr. Speaker, with that record came the crashing realization that he could no longer qualify, or very unlikely that he would get a visa for travel. And I want to expand, Mr. Speaker, and when I say visa, I'm encompassing all manners of opportunity to travel to the United States, that being the visa for the U.S., a waiver program that is especially for Cayman Islands, and if you have a British passport by the notion of being Caymanian or overseas territory citizen, the ESTA. Mr. Speaker, this is not an isolated story. This is a flaw in our system of justice, in my humble opinion, Mr. Speaker. I say this because this young man's experience is disturbingly similar to what led to the recent referendum on the decriminalization of the possession of small quantities of marijuana. Mr. Speaker, that referendum was held because too many of our young people, and old, I dare say, bright, young Caymanians with talent, drive, and potential were being denied visas, going further than that, denied job opportunities, denied educational opportunities, and even denied a chance to receive medical treatment overseas, particularly that within the U.S. market, for mistakes made. The people of this country recognized that injustice, and in their wisdom, Mr. Speaker, voted in favor of the referendum for decriminalization of small amounts of marijuana, one upon which many members of this honorable House supported in the previous administration. They understood that the punishment must fit the offense, and that a youthful error should not carry a lifelong sentence, Mr. Speaker. Today, we find ourselves facing the same issue under a different heading. And the question is, Mr. Speaker, should speeding on the water carry criminal penalties, while speeding on land does not? Mr. Speaker, consider this. If that same young man had been caught driving 65 miles an hour in a 25-mile zone on the public roads, he would have been issued a ticket, summons to court, and fined. He would not, under the current traffic laws, have received a criminal record. But because he committed the equivalent act on water, he now carries a lifelong burden of a criminal conviction. And I say lifelong, Mr. Speaker, because well after the expungement legislation comes into effect for such a criminal offense, which I think is 5 years, the opportunities upon which he'll be limited to still comes into a factor. Hence the reason I say a lifelong burden. Because when applying, and I've said this in this honorable House before, when applying for a visa application, it asks you, have you ever been? Regardless if your record is clean or not. There is a general, well-established principle in law, Mr. Speaker, which speaks to the concept of proportionality, equality, and consistency in sentencing, suggesting that similar offenses should attract similar penalties. What resulted with this young man, Mr. Speaker, was not proportionate, equal, or consistent, at least not in many minds in the public. Mr. Speaker, I dare say it is not justice. So we must ask ourselves, why the disparity? Is speeding in a no-wake zone more dangerous than speeding on a busy road? Mr. Speaker, I think there's a high chance of more damage simply on the basis that there's more traffic and human beings at any one given time on the roads. If there is an increased risk associated with marine violations, by then all means, let the penalties reflect that, Mr. Speaker. Perhaps through graduated fines or mandatory education, but not criminalization for a first-time, non-reckless offense. Mr. Speaker, let me be clear. I am not advocating for lawlessness on the water. Far from it. I support the continued enforcement of speed limits in no-wake zones. But what I am saying, Mr. Speaker, and what I'm urging this honorable House to consider, is that such offenses be treated administratively, not criminally, just as we do with land-based traffic infractions. Under the Traffic Act 2021 revision, ordinary speeding offenses are handled as a misdemeanor, not as a criminal conviction, unless they're involved in reckless and dangerous driving or such serious offenses. And yet, our Port Authority Regulations 2026 revision have remained out of step, placing undue burdens not only on young Caymanians, but any aged Caymanians for minor infractions like going over 5 knots in a 200-yard zone. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, under Section 19 of the Cayman Islands Constitution, Order 2009, the principles of lawlessness and rationality and proportionality are enshrined in our governance model. These principles demand that all of our laws be applied fairly and without excess or arbitrary penalties. The current legal treatment of minor speeding within the designated area of 200 yards of our shore fails that test, in my humble opinion, Mr. Speaker. So, how many of us in this honorable House have children? Nieces, nephews, friends who enjoy our waters on the weekend, the beautiful crystal waters of the Cayman Islands, every Sunday, every Saturday, every holiday. And you just said, you know what, let me buy my 15-year-old daughter or son a jet ski because they've been working so hard in school. And they just so happen to go 7 knots within a 200 yards of the shoreline. Now, Mr. Speaker, that example I just gave you for a 15, 14-year-old, luckily, will be a minor, so it wouldn't be reflected on their record. But let's just say the child was 17 years old and just graduated high school with honors and distinction, and just so happened to touch the idol just a little bit more than normal. Should that child be now burdened with the opportunity or the lack thereof of an opportunity to go to university because they now have a criminal record upon which they can't get a U.S. visa to go to university? I don't think that's what we want, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, jet skis, small boats, family outings are a part of our heritage and our lifestyle here in the Cayman Islands. We are surrounded by water, and as our coat of arms say, he founded it upon the seas. It's a part of our heritage. Interestingly enough, Mr. Speaker, we just had a ceremony creating a library for the seamen and the history. How fitting that just one day after we are trying to protect that cultural component from the damaging effects that I am certain when the creation of this legislation was done was not thought about. Mr. Speaker, I think we should all think about the consequences if that could have been one of our own and the ill effects that could have happened to them. And to those who would ask, how many people are affected by this, Mr. Speaker? To be honest with you, the answer is simple. 1 is too many. I don't know how many people are affected because I don't have the list of criminal records in this country, but the government can certainly do so via cabinet if they seek that information. But if even 1 Caymanian has been deprived of the opportunity of jobs, scholarship, access to medical care overseas, or just, you know what, just simple old leisure. I just want to go to Florida. Should I be stopped from the opportunity just to jump to Miami to say, I want to watch a basketball game because I went 7 knots over the speed limit? Come on. Mr. Speaker, all of us members in this House may be at odds at sometimes in respect to policy, but I can surely stand and say that every member of this House loves Cayman, loves our people, and would share with me that this has to be addressed. Mr. Speaker, as legislators of this honorable parliament, we have a responsibility to craft laws that are just, equitable, and proportionate. Where we find injustice in the application of existing laws, we are duty-bound, Mr. Speaker, morally and constitutionally, to correct it. By the power of our vote and by the power of the vote of the public in the referendum on marijuana, Caymanians did the right thing and stood for fairness. And I hope that that will too demonstrate that this parliament is equally willing to do the right thing. So, Mr. Speaker, as I wrap up, I call on every member of this Honorable House to support this motion, not to excuse unlawful behavior, but to ensure that the consequences of minor infractions does not ruin lives, but instead give our young people and anybody of any age who operates watercrafts a fair chance to learn, to travel, and contribute as productive citizens of these beloved islands, Mr. Speaker. And I do look forward to the contributions of the government members in respect to this motion. Thank you.
Honourable Minister of Planning, Infrastructure, Lands and Agriculture, Housing.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, just want to first let me thank the member for Georgetown Central for bringing this private member motion here today. I had the opportunity last week, I think it was last week, to actually have a deep dive down into this and look into the port regs. And me myself did not know it actually was a criminal offense. And taking from that and having the conversation and hearing exactly what the member outlined, also and seeing that this young individual was, himself did not know that it was a criminal offense and thought, as he said it, yes, he did agree that he was wrong. He paid the fine, but not knowing that it would have been on his record. And that could have fallen and probably happened to pretty much any of us that owns a boat, I would say, at some point in time. Mr. Speaker, I am happy to say that the government is in full support of this motion. And Mr. Speaker, where it talks about speeding in a no-wake zone or in a marine park or to consider to be a criminal offense, I know there are other zone areas too. And I'm just wondering if when we look at those areas, should we expand in further and fix pretty much all of them that they are going to be a ticketable offense? Because I agree with the member, we have to start looking at some of these laws that are affecting the children or livelihood of our kids and how much it affects them and where children are going overseas and cannot get a chance to go overseas because they made one simple mistake at that time in the day. And I can guarantee you, sometimes when you're at doing certain speeds, that adrenaline that is running into you may have been a real simple mistake. And he may not even have realized it. Some areas not even marked properly, and you not even realize it. And I noticed, Mr. Speaker, since the Coast Guard has taken a more play into a role of our Marines, especially on the weekends, you have seen where the Coast Guard has been out there doing their job, and that is their job, to protect the areas. And telling the boaters and those that are skiing and those that are operating jet skis that, whether they're in the wrong zones and whether they are in a no-wake zone. Especially, coming from as a member for North Side, I've seen it happen too much in the Cayman Kai, in the Rum Point, and in the Kaibo, especially in the Kaibo area. And I mean, I look at the Kaibo area, simple as the Kaibo area, it could have been a very harmless thing because the area is not identified properly. And I've seen where the Marine officers have stopped vessels and warned them and tell them that they're in the area and not knowing that there was any buoy out there to tell them that they were in a no-wake zone. So, Mr. Speaker, I do support this motion. The government supports this motion. We want to help out. We don't want to see our children carry this type of burden on top of them. especially those, that are going away for school, traveling. It is something that will affect their lives. And then not only that, Mr. Speaker, one day they may want to apply for a job in one of the marine departments. And then they look at his police record and say, look, well, there's a couple of years ago you were speeding in a marine zone, now you want to be a marine officer. And, as I said, it could have been a simple mistake. So I think for this motion, there is no need to have no long argument over it. I think we can simply pass this on and say that the government fully supports it. Thank you.
Does the Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition want to reply?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, let me start by saying I thank the Honourable Minister for his contribution and his indication of support by members when we get to the vote. It does show that in partnership and when we find issues that we can work together to support and make the necessary changes in the best interests of our people. So I want to thank the Minister for that. I also want to thank my seconder, the Honourable Member from Borden Town East, Dwayne Seymour, who is quite similar. He always used to say, I fight for the face of the faceless. He's a fighter for the small man, and him and I, when I drafted this motion, I thought of him right away, and I know he would second it, even though unfortunately he's given apologies not to be here. But I thank him for seconding it, and I want to also thank the Honourable Deputy Speaker for taking his place to be the seconder on the floor when it was time to address the matter. Mr. Speaker, I want to also thank the Minister for expanding the parameters of this. Obviously, the government has in its full remit to do as it wish, but just acknowledging the fact that there may be other areas that should be considered to be misdemeanors. Maybe this is an objective that the Law Reform Commission should take up, as to consider whether or not we should take a review of all of our legislation and find and create maybe a misdemeanor program. Things that we don't think that should levy a criminal offense. It could be some other things other than this I am missing that the government could be willing to address, because we do recognize, with us being a heavy dependent in the U.S. market, with the visa restrictions by way of immigration, and the fact that we depend heavily on educational opportunities for our children and medical care, that we should probably review that. By all means, I don't want to send a message of, oh, you should break the law because it would be no criminal offense, but we have to be realistic in some of the things that are seeming to be rather archaic. So with that being said, I want to again thank the Minister and the government for their intended support, and I hope to see this motion successfully pass when it's time to come for a vote. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I think I need to read the motion into the records, because the mover did not read the motion when he moved it. So just so that the records are being complete, I'll take the opportunity to read the whole motion. Whereas speeding is a no-wake zone of a marine park is considered a criminal offense, and whereas criminal records continue to create job opportunity hurdles for many Caymanians, and whereas speeding on the roadway is not considered a criminal offense, and whereas Section 19 of the Cayman Islands Constitution Order requires that all decisions and acts of public officials must be lawful, rational, proportionate, and procedural affair. Be it therefore resolved that the government considers amending the relevant legislation to remove the criminality of the offense to make it equal to that of a traffic offense, and be it further resolved that the government considers this as an urgent matter due to the unintended negative effect of Caymanian employment and travel opportunities. So the question is, be it therefore resolved that government considers amending the relevant legislation to remove the criminality of the offense to make it equal to that of a traffic offense, and be it further resolved that the government considers this as an urgent matter due to the unintended negative effect on Caymanian employment and travel opportunities. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those against? No. The ayes have it. Private member motion number 1 is therefore approved.
Private members' motions number 2 of 2025 to 2026. Motion to implement a year-round NICE program in Grand Cayman, to be moved by the Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition, elected member for Georgetown Central, and seconded by the elected member for Georgetown West.
Deputy Leader of the Opposition and member for Georgetown Central, private members motion number 2 of 2025-26.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to move the motion standing in my name on the order paper, motion number 2 of 2025-2026, entitled Implementing a Year-Round NICE Program in Grand Cayman. And the motion reads as such, Mr. Speaker. Whereas unemployment amongst Caymanians is still high, and whereas all members of the government and Parliament campaigned on reducing Caymanian unemployment, and whereas a template structure is already in place with the BRAC National Community Enhancement Program, be it therefore resolved that the government considers implementing a year-round National and Community Enhancement Program in Grand Cayman, and be it therefore further resolved that the government considers allocating the necessary funds to the ministry responsible for the current National Community Enhancement Program for it to start by the 1st of January 2026.
Is there a seconder? Deputy Speaker, member for Georgetown West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to second the motion.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Does the Honorable Deputy of the Opposition wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I also want to beg your forgiveness for my rookie mistake earlier by not reading the motion. I think it's been a while since I did a motion independently in opposition, hence the reason. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to bring the motion that this Honorable House should implement the National Community Enhancement Program, more commonly referred to the NICE program, as a year-round initiative in Grand Cayman, with it hopefully being affected or in effect by the 1st. And I say that, Mr. Speaker, because I recall having to make an amendment by good advice of strong advisors to say by the 1st. And the reason I say that, Mr. Speaker, is because normally we would do the NICE program around Christmas time. And if we're going to do it then, maybe we can start the year-round program starting from whenever we start the Christmas cleanup. It is a motion that speaks to our values as a country, Mr. Speaker, and to the dignity and the well-being of our people. Mr. Speaker, the NICE program was started as a national effort in 2015 under the then PPM-led administration to fulfill a simple but yet powerful objective: to beautify our islands and provide economic opportunities for Caymanians. Now, Mr. Speaker, I think it's important that I highlight here that though the NICE program was started in 2015, there was a equivalent program that was started by the UDP government under the leadership of the Honorable McKeever Bush. The People's Progressive Movement-led administration, 2015, made amendments of its operations and how it was applied and renamed it. So I think both administrations should be given much credit to something that continued on up until this day. It is a program that reflects who we are as a people, industrious, proud, and committed to keeping our communities clean, safe, and attractive. Not just for ourselves, Mr. Speaker, but for all who come to our shores. We have all seen the crews throughout our districts and know the impact the NICE program has had, whether it is cleaning our roadsides, clearing beach access paths, painting the curbs, or removing sargassum from our coastline under the guidance of the Department of Environment. The program has become an essential service to our society. It enhances our public spaces and offers meaningful employment to Caymanians who are otherwise unemployed or sometimes underemployed. Mr. Speaker, the benefits of this initiative are plain to see, and they go far beyond the random 3 weeks of work currently offered. Each time this program is announced, hundreds and hundreds of Caymanians line up for the chance to participate. Not for a handout, Mr. Speaker, but for a chance to earn an honest day's pay at $10 per hour and contribute to the improvement of our island and its decor. The participants work hard, and we are very thankful for all that they do to make Cayman cleaner, more beautiful place for us to enjoy. And when their final shift is over, they leave with a reference from a supervisor, practical work experience, and oftentimes the confidence that they need to take the next step in their employment journey, even if it's only temporary. It is for those Caymanians that I am bringing this motion and asking the government to take this good program and make it better by expanding it to year-round, just as it currently operates in Cayman Brac, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister responsible for the NICE program, or used to be responsible for the NICE program, I'm not sure if he still is, the Honorable Minister J. Ebanks, was quoted in a press release issued by his ministry last November, and I say his ministry because it's a little bit different now, but I think I can still say it's his, it's practically the same thing. Last November by saying, and I quote, "The NICE project is more than an employment opportunity. It is a call for action for Caymanians to come together and make a positive impact on our communities. This initiative allows participants to gain valuable work experience while fostering a sense of pride and ownership in the beautiful Cayman Islands. And I encourage all eligible individuals to join us in this worthwhile effort to improve and maintain our public spaces," end quote, Mr. Speaker. Well, I couldn't agree more. If we recognize that this is more than an employment opportunity, then we must also recognize that it should not be limited to seasonal 3-week work windows. Mr. Speaker, in light of all of the benefits, it was our intention and one of our pledges of the People's Progressive Movement's manifesto that we would extend the NICE program to year-round. The work that needs to be done on our beaches, along our roadsides, and throughout our districts is not seasonal, Mr. Speaker, and neither is the need for work amongst our people. Mr. Speaker, our country has built a reputation on being clean, well kept, safe, and visually appealing. Those attributes are a part of our national brand, a brand that brings tourists to our shores, foreign investors to our industries, and pride to our people. Keeping our islands clean is a part of the Caymanian way. Growing up, we were always made to clean our surroundings. Our yards were tidy and well groomed. No matter how much or how little you had, we recognized the importance of making sure that our little space on island was well kept. In most cases, we'd be embarrassed, Mr. Speaker, if our yards or our homes were dirty. God forbid the neighbors were to see your yard next door and say, well, look, he yard not clean. When you go to any one of the hotels on the island, Mr. Speaker, or to places like Cayman Bay, you see that their lawns are well manicured, their landscaping is on point, and their trees are well trimmed and groomed. You don't see dead brushes or dead palm tree leaves, the bunch of dead leaves on the ground. Everything is well kept, nicely groomed, and visually appealing. And there's a reason for that, Mr. Speaker. When something looks nice and well maintained, it increases its value. That's why these resorts spend much money every week, every month, and have gardeners on shift to keep their properties up to par. They pay heavily to maintain the presentation and the look of their properties because it is a reflection of their brand. Similarly, Mr. Speaker, our public, our community, and our spaces, and our roadsides, and our roundabouts, and our beaches are a reflection of the Cayman Islands brand. A brand that says that we are safe, a brand that says that we are well kept, well disciplined, and a very caring society. So I'm happy to see that the minister is a supporter of this program. And I hope that by bringing this motion now, Mr. Speaker, it would allow the government sufficient enough time to plan to extend the program and appropriately budget for it. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind this Honorable House of something that we already know. That in every society, there will be those who are low-skilled, semi-skilled, or otherwise overlooked by a traditional job market. What we do with these people is the question. Do we just forget them? Do we push them to the side? Or do we, as leaders, create opportunities that meet them where they are, build their confidence, and teach them to become self-sufficient? Mr. Speaker, the NICE program is that opportunity. Mr. Speaker, this program has the potential to become a pipeline for self-employment and small business development. A well-designed year-round NICE program could provide real training on things like how to identify native plants, trim trees appropriately, because believe it or not, Mr. Speaker, a lot of people don't know there's a science to how you trim trees. You just can't cut any particular branch, otherwise you can kill the tree. I learned that from my mom, by the way. How to shape hedging, how to maintain lawns. And there is nothing unskilled about that. You learn. We can use the NICE program, Mr. Speaker, as an opportunity to create an industry where Caymanians are not just cleaning our roadsides, but are also taught to be skilled gardeners and landscapers. Mr. Speaker, I can only imagine how many work permits we have in this area. And if we teach them the skill components of it, there will always be jobs available for them in a country that takes pride in its outdoor presentation. Why should we continue securing these services from imported workers when we could be training and employing our own? After a while, our own Caymanians can start their own gardening and landscaping businesses. So many others come here, and in tutus, they have a weed whacker, they got a weed blower, a lawn mower, and they're not just working for themselves, but they have one or two other workers with them too. And I say, you mean to tell me now so-and-so from Georgetown Central can't do that job? You mean to tell me now I couldn't put a little $3,000-$5,000 program in place to give them the equipment for them to go out and never have to come to NAU again? Come on. Why shouldn't Caymanians have the opportunity to do the same in their own country? The Minister for Immigration, now in place, is cracking down on persons who are here without permits. And I commend him. I support him. And I wish him the best in his endeavors, not only as a minister, but as the whole government and for the best interests of our country, that we secure job opportunities for our country, for our people. He's going to crack down on those permits, hustling and operating their little business on the side. And as he ramps up his enforcement, there will be opportunities for Caymanians to step into those roles and provide those types of grooming services. And I dare say, Mr. Speaker, some people underestimate the value of those grooming services. You present yourself in the appropriate way with the right clientele, you can get a whole lot of money off of those services. One thing is for sure, it doesn't matter if you live in a house, a condo, or a gated community, the grass around you will continue to grow, and the trees and the hedges will need cutting. Every couple of weeks, some people will push it to a month because they can only afford that much. But if we create the culture of expectation of proper presentation when it comes to cleaning, there will be more work opportunities for our people. Grooming our surroundings is something that we cannot get away from. So there's no downside to operating this program year-round, Mr. Speaker. Every day we hear government talking about improving education and scholarships and job opportunities for Caymanians. But we all have to remember that it's not just jobs in offices, in the law, or in accounting or teaching that they have to support. And the current Minister for Immigration knows this quite well. He's made his mark for his hard work in creating other kind of jobs for Caymanians, and he should be commended for that. There's also a need to create the job opportunities for lower skilled workers as well. There are plenty of Caymanians who enjoy working outdoors and who would love the opportunity to learn about grooming our surroundings and being a part of a viable industry where they can make a dollar. Just because it's lower skill doesn't mean it's not important. And just because it's lower skilled, that means it's going to be lower paid. Let me also say, Mr. Speaker, it is not a coincidence that when the NICE program is active, the police report a noticeable reduction in petty crime. To be clear, Mr. Speaker, I'm not saying that the persons on the program are committing crimes when the program is not on. What I am saying, though, Mr. Speaker, is that people with dignity, direction, and income have less reasons to fall into desperation. We have never really qualified on a holistic level the economic and social value of safety in our country. But that doesn't mean we should underestimate it either. Being known as a low-crime destination is worth far more than we imagine. And I can say that, Mr. Speaker, as the former Minister of Tourism. And we must protect that status by every means necessary. Now I expect that some members will raise questions about the cost, especially since there are those on the government benches who will never miss an opportunity to claim that our country is in dire financial straits. Despite the first quarter earnings, as we heard just yesterday, Mr. Speaker, but I won't go down that path. What I will say to anyone who believes that the cost of this year-round program is too high is that the alternative is far more expensive. We currently pay out millions in dollars annually through the Department of Financial Assistance to help those who are unemployed or underemployed, Mr. Speaker. So I ask, would it not be better to pay those same individuals who are physically able, now not all women DFA are physically able, but those who are, to work and gain useful skill sets, rather than simply giving them financial support with no opportunity attached? Now, based on my observation of the current Minister for Employment, I think he's intending to address that in the government's new policy approach to labor and immigration. And based on what he said so far, if all goes well, I think the future is bright. But this could be one component that assists him in those endeavors. Remember now, this would not be increasing the civil service headcount, because just like him and Brack, Mr. Speaker, this would be a fixed-term contract operating on rotating bases. 3 weeks on, 1 week off, like they do in the Brack. When I was in office, Mr. Speaker, as minister, I recall the spend for a 3-week program being around $800,000. Now, I could be off a little bit, Mr. Speaker, for the nice program for 3 weeks here in Grand Cayman, with the estimates of 500 to 600 people coming out. Now, I don't know the full details, but I'm certain that the former minister or the minister who was in charge of the NICE program can elaborate and opine on that if the government responds to the estimated costing. Now, if that's the case and my estimates are on point, we're talking about approximately $10 million or so per year, Mr. Speaker, to keep this program running continuously. And now $10 million is no small amounts of money. But $10 million investment in reducing crime, keeping the country's brand at a high-value proposition from a tourism investment and cultural perspective, as well as reducing the potential costs on DFA, I think $10 million would be rather cheap. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure that we can find that to invest in our people, considering we'll be giving them monies through NAU or DFA anyway, if they don't have work or an income. So, why not use the funds in a way that will keep and help to reduce crime, improve our national brand recognition, help to keep the country clean, and give Caymanians a job? When our visitors drive past well-maintained roundabouts, trimmed hedges, cleaned beaches, and roadways free of litter, they form an impression of our society that is disciplined, that is caring and proud. When those scene spaces are overgrown and neglected, it reflects poorly on us. Mr. Speaker, I want to share an experience. I went to a Caribbean island, and I won't say which island it was. And I remember my first stint as minister, people used to say, What makes Cayman different than the rest of the Caribbean? And I tried not to be too much of a cliche. And I always used to say, because we grade well across the average. What I mean is, there's some key points that visitors think about when they're visiting a country. Safety, cleanliness, cost, infrastructure, accessibility, and the infrastructure of the residential place upon which they go, whether it's condo, villas, or hotel. And Mr. Speaker, I found that while some other jurisdictions had a lot of culture, the crime was really bad. Or if the crime and safety was good, the infrastructure was terrible, the roads looked terrible. And the roads were dry and potholes everywhere, and the landscaping was terrible, so you'd be driving like 5 miles, the place looked like garbage, and you get this well-manicured hotel. So my point is, Mr. Speaker, Cayman has always done well across all major points. We're safe. Our culture is not as strong as some others, but we have our own special culture. Our quality deliverable in our service is amazing. Safety and cleanliness and all of those are well. But what it led me to understand, Mr. Speaker, is that when I started to understand the visitor and our guests more, cleanliness was probably one of the #1 things next to safety that made them say, boy, I like Cayman. Place is clean, our people are nice, as long as we stay nice and stop fighting in Parliament all the time. People are nice, we're clean, and it's safe. We have a job that we can do to make sure that all those things are well. Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, when visitors drive past well-maintained roundabouts, trimmed hedges, clean beaches and roadways, free of litter, they form an impression of a society that is disciplined, caring, and proud. And I remember when I went to that Caribbean island, Mr. Speaker, I didn't feel like those people were caring or proud or disciplined, because the way the island was presented was horrid. But that's just my opinion. But if I felt that way, I suspect many others did too. When those same spaces that I just talked about are overgrown and neglected, it reflects badly on all of us. Mr. Speaker, CNB, CUC, and the Butterfield roundabouts all look pristine because private companies are maintaining them, Mr. Speaker. But our public roundabouts are unsponsored and unsponsored spaces are often left in despair. That shouldn't be the case, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when I served as Minister of Tourism, I reinstated the Beautification Task Force, initially to deal with the issue of derelict vehicles. Remember, Ms. Heather? That soon expanded to including beautification and anti-littering across all 3 islands. I appointed the now member for Savannah to spearhead that effort. And she has always been a champion for a cleaner Cayman. And I know she will forever be. And I hope, Mr. Speaker, that she will support this for the intention. I hope that she supports this motion, because this year-round NICE program has so many links to beautification. And it's a natural extension of the work that she is so passionate about. In fact, if the government is so minded, perhaps that she could be the person who oversees the program as a part of the beautification initiative. I know one thing, she'll keep on moving. Mr. Speaker, the program already runs in Kimmenbrack year-round. So there's an established model already there to follow that is flexible, efficient, and well-tested. And the positive effects from operating at 3 weeks on and 1 week off are evident. And I'm certain that the member for Kimmenbrock West can attest to that. The minister, I dare say. But let me make it clear that I'm not advocating for anyone to be permanently placed on this program, because this is not about finding a specific career in cleaning. This is not about lifelong government dependency, Mr. Speaker. This is about providing a stepping stone for persons in transition who may be looking for a job or waiting to learn a marketable skill set, or who are in transition, or just trying to get back on their feet because they left a job, lost a job, or coming out of school to go into a job. And I believe they deserve a hand up, Mr. Speaker, rather than a handout. And this motion, I believe, Mr. Speaker, will give them that opportunity. Mr. Speaker, we are here elected to serve all Caymanians, not just the white collar, not just the highly educated, but all Caymanians, Mr. Speaker, especially those who want nothing more than a chance to earn their keep and contribute to society. Mr. Speaker, this motion gives them that chance. As the Minister for Planning and Infrastructure correctly said previously, this program is more than an employment opportunity. I therefore hope we will support the motion, and I urge every member of this Honourable House to likewise do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I look forward to hearing the government's contribution and hopefully their vote in favour. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister for Immigration Works.
Sir. Okay, good. Thanks. Thank you. Yes. Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to respond to the motion. I thank the member for Georgetown Central for his contribution. Mr. Speaker, I have worked in education for the past 15 years, and I've also worked in social development, focusing on at-risk youth and children and their families for the past 35 years. I want to be clear where the government stands on this particular program, but also this motion. The motion is not proposing a laudable objective of implementing a comprehensive training program that will prepare Caymanians to assume the almost 40,000 jobs created in our economy that's performed by work permit holders. Instead, Mr. Speaker, the motion is proposing that many of our currently unemployed people should be relegated to being employed through the NICE program, which is not equivalent to a full-time job, with the normal employment benefits, health insurance, and a pension plan. Now, Mr. Speaker, I want to examine this a second. The member alluded to the Kimmenbrock model. Let's talk about that model. We have folks that have been in our program, some of them a decade. They still haven't gotten full-time employment. They have no health care benefits, so in the event that they're sick, the Department of Financial Assistance which is our country, still have to help them. Many of these people are getting older, nearing retirement, and they have no retirement plan. So their retirement plan currently, and I'm hoping that the member will agree to this, is the Cayman Islands government. This is not our plan going forward. The NICE program is nothing more than a Band-Aid, Mr. Speaker. Expanding it represents an insult to the Caymanian people and a failure on our part to have a program that supports employment and a transition into normal workforce. Mr. Speaker, I want to make sure that our members in this honorable House understand. I've worked in training and development for the last 8 years, where I ran my own company, and I've had the privilege of working in training with a number of people who were in the NICE program. They were handicapped by this program. The moment an employer saw NICE on their resumes, they could not get employment. We had to help them clean up their resumes, give them the required skills in order to ensure that they were employable. So creating this program in the Cayman Islands or Grand Cayman, it is not what our government will be supporting. In my view, it has been a missed opportunity for the past 15 years of its existence to invest in something more meaningful, Mr. Speaker, to our country. What this motion intends to do is kick the can of Caymanian training and employment opportunities further down the road. Our government is saying absolutely not. Mr. Speaker, many of us are maybe familiar with the faces of people who have traditionally participated in the NICE program, and these have often been people who find the normal workforce challenging or have unfortunately abused themselves in certain ways. The really concerning thing for me, Mr. Speaker, is that there's now an observing as I drive around, and I take the time to drive around to view the folks who are in the NICE program. The participants in this program are younger, many of them 17 and 18 years old, who will be handicapped by this program if we pour more money in it. The program, Mr. Speaker, is not designed, based on what the member says, it's not designed to train up anyone. It is simple as that. A program that pays people $10 to pick up garbage on the road. Mr. Speaker, there's no Caymanian parent in our country, and I challenge anyone in this humble house to ask any of them, who will say that their child is aspiring to be trained or work in a NICE program. I'm also confident that any member of this honorable house can go to any school in this country and ask any child if they aspire to be part of the NICE program, and that answer will be hell no. The NICE program has not and will never address the root causes that prevents Caymanians from pursuing the required upskilling and reskilling that leads to full-time employment. Mr. Speaker, what this motion proposes is that our people don't deserve full-time employment with health care benefits, pension plan, vacation and sick benefits, that they deserve to be unemployed for long periods of time. Mr. Speaker, I ask the question to the mover and the supporter of this motion, are they saying that the best jobs our people deserve is sweeping the streets, painting sidewalks, and cleaning up graveyards? Mr. Speaker, I believe in working hard because I have done that all my life. But I also believe that the NICE program is nothing more than a vote-buying program. Mr. Speaker, I'm proposing, however, if this motion is proposing that our people is designated to sweeping the streets and painting sidewalks and cleaning up graveyards, then we are aiming wide of the mark that we should be focused on. Our people must be prioritized for upskilling and reskilling to work in some of the better jobs that are occupied by work permit holders that come with employment benefits. Mr. Speaker, I would have been more impressed by the motion that encouraged the training of Caymanians to take the 650 plus jobs that will be created by the Grand Hyatt, which will be coming online in January of 2026. The previous government approved 100% waiver duties up to an aggregate sum of $8,715,000 to Pageant Beach Hotel, aka Grand Hyatt, and its designated subcontractors. Yet, after meeting with the organization, not one plan has been put in place to employ Caymanians. It is concerning. Mr. Speaker, our government will be investing in upskilling and reskilling our people to be employed in the civil service that has many departments, the healthcare industry, which is booming in our country, the construction industry, because if they can paint sidewalks, they can certainly do construction, the landscaping industry, which is what our member that just provided a caption of the NICE program could be made to do. Our people can certainly do landscaping. Why not have benefits attached to it? And the restaurant business, in which we are by far experiencing some of the best restaurants in the world. Mr. Speaker, Caymanians will not qualify for a mortgage working in the NICE program, and it doesn't matter how much we pretty this program up. They will not get a mortgage. What this motion is saying that our people don't deserve to qualify to purchase a home and properly provide for their families. Mr. Speaker, I want to be honest. What the NICE program is a social welfare program that will cost our country millions of dollars every year and will not address the root causes of unemployment by our most vulnerable people. Mr. Speaker, for the investment we have already made to this program in the past 15 plus years, we could have established several different world-class TVET training programs that would have been the envy of the Caribbean and the world. We could have upskilled our people and provide meaningful long-term employment with benefits where they can retire with dignity. Mr. Speaker, our government currently invests millions in the following training programs: PWD, TVET training program, UCCI TVET training program, UCCI hospitality training program, WORC's Ready to Work training program, Superior Auto training program, Cayman Career Academy training program. Our government's commitment is to strengthen these programs with more investment. We will be investing in holistic wraparound services that address barriers to employment, such as addiction, mental health, childcare, transportation, food insecurity, housing insecurity, clothing, etc. Mr. Speaker, I want to let you and our honorable members have a clear understanding. We have real issues. And those issues doesn't include skills. Our people can work. I have never found a young person, middle-aged person, or older person that didn't have a skill. Our people are ambitious. They're intelligent. They're enthusiastic about working, but there are barriers. And unless we address the barriers to employment, it doesn't matter how many NICE programs we invest in. They're never going to get employment. Now, in my experience in the last 8 years of supporting Caymanians transitioning to the workforce, it was never about skill set. Mr. Speaker, I've personally met with over 200 employers in the last 8 years. They've never said Caymanians couldn't work. They've all said Caymanians have way too many barriers to get into the workforce and keep a job. So in my time at Inspire, with the support that we were provided with from the private sector, we hired a therapist and we reduced barriers in all of the areas of addiction, mental health, and childcare. Things as simple as transportation rules out our people from working in the industry. Mr. Speaker, we've met with my colleague and I, Mr. Ruddy, met with several hotels on West Bay Road. The biggest challenges they're seeing is young people coming as far as East End that cannot get to work on time because there's not a proper transportation system. Let's fix the barrier. We don't need a nice program to prop up that we are doing something. We don't need something like the NICE program to say that Cayman is clean. Our responsibility is to clean the country. We have kicked these issues of mental health and transportation and food insecurity down the road for a decade. It's time that we stop and address them. We must now ensure that our people are competitive and employable. Mr. Speaker, Cayman isn't the country that time has forgotten. We're now on a global platform. Our responsibility is to ensure that our people are trained properly. And the only way to do that is to provide them the necessary responsibilities, programs, course outlines, support systems to help them do that. My colleague, the Minister of Finance have just informed me that this program would cost us a whopping $20 million. Now let's talk about this figure a second. Because if we can pay $20 million for this program that provides no training, no employment, no health care benefits, no pension benefits, no vacation benefits, and if a person gets sick, they still need to go to DFA, the Department of Financial Assistance, to claim some sort of welfare. What are we paying for? We're paying for a program to just say that the government is doing something that all of us in this room could say to one of our constituents, go work for a welfare program? Not on our watch, Mr. Speaker. I'm happy to report that our government have already started the process of protecting Caymanian people by reforming the immigration system and the labor laws. Mr. Speaker, we've kicked this can down the road for many years, and within my first 2 months of being on the job, I made it very clear. I came to work. I stood in this great house on my very first day, and I've said, I've come here to work. Within 2 weeks, we had already made significant progress in immigration reform. And this moves into Caymanian employment. We have to fix our immigration issues in order to protect our people. We've established a national workforce task force of private and public sector professionals to develop a national workforce plan. Mr. Speaker, I will say to you, I am extremely exhausted in hearing government officials, private sector officials, like the Chamber of Commerce and other organizations, consistently pay for reports that we don't actually follow. I have 3 reports that we've paid for, or at least consulted on, in the last year that have gone nowhere. And it all comes down to putting a national workforce plan in place that no one from the government or private sector have put in place. Well, I say, Mr. Speaker, the NICE program isn't going to fix that. We actually now have to get serious about this, and we cannot continue to pay lip service to this on an ongoing basis. We're in the process of establishing a national workforce database in which will house data from all high school seniors, because, Mr. Speaker, here's what happens when a youngster leaves high school. Maybe 15 to 20% move on to tertiary education. We're graduating at times 400 or 500 students between public and private sector. No one tracks any of those students. So all of a sudden, they stay unemployed for years, and we know what happens. After a couple of years, they bounce around, they submit a resume to some place, and because of the gaps in their resume, no one wants to hire them. We have to start to keep track of these young people. The database will also hold students that are currently attending overseas and on-island tertiary education schools. Let me tell you what is happening now in our system, Mr. Speaker. We have one system which houses all of our scholarship students who doesn't share that information with another system like employment and immigration. So when a work permit holder comes before one of our boards, because those people don't have this information, we can't make decisions because we don't know who's in the system. The NICE program isn't going to solve that problem. We have to start to commit to fixing the problem with real solutions. And spending $20 million on a program that is going to lead to more social welfare than we've ever seen isn't going to be our plan going forward. This database will also hold students who are attending TVET and professional development centers. We have a massive program at PWD. This program should be one of the most heavily recruited programs from our construction industry. Yet, we kick that down the road. It's not. Why? Because they're not in any database that when a company who owns a construction firm is looking for an individual, where do they find them? Nowhere. We have to make our people more accessible to the private sector, who is the largest employment entity right now in our country. Persons who are unemployed and underemployed have to also be in this database. And our responsibility is to make sure that this happens. The database will feed into a national workforce apprenticeship program that will be shared with the civil service and the private sector. Over the last month, Mr. Speaker, over 400 plus young people applied to perhaps 160 positions, internships within the Cayman Islands Civil Service. Where do the rest of them go? We only hired 160. Over 200 plus young people did not get an internship because there's not a national apprenticeship training program. We have been talking about this for 30 years. I've been a civil servant for at least 12 in 4 different entities in the civil service, all to do with protecting children. And I've gone into multiple meetings, committees, task force, and everything else, and we sit down and we continue to talk about a human capital plan, a national workforce development plan, and all of this sort, and every year, or every 4 years, we do very little. We must start sharing information of our most talented and ambitious people with our employers. We must stop expecting employers to go looking for our talent in a world that has 8 billion people and everyone is connected to the World Wide Web and social media. Mr. Speaker, we have over 15 plus recruitment agencies. They are not here, they're not designed for our people. And yet, if we do not ensure that our people have the skills to compete, they're going to be left out of the employment market. And it's what I've found. This isn't new information. The government have always had this information. Mr. Speaker, the NICE program is not a win for Caymanians. It will only increase dependency on our already overwhelmed social welfare systems. Anyone in this chamber who thinks otherwise has not been reviewing our national budget and expenses. Mr. Speaker, just a few weeks ago, or maybe a week and a half ago, we came to Finance Committee because the Department of Financial Assistance is running out or has run out of money. We also had my colleague who's in charge of health discuss that our indigent insurance is also running out of money. And yet we have a lot of folks that we can train up to potentially take the hundreds, thousands of jobs that we're creating. And yet we're in this room still discussing the NICE program. I'm almost embarrassed for us that we are discussing a program that leads to absolutely nothing. And we're not discussing a national TVET center. We're not discussing a national hospitality school. We could have built a hospitality school in the last 15 years. We're saying that we pride ourselves on hospitality, on restaurants. We have world-class hotels. And yet when you go to the front lines of those hotels, it's not our people. And yet we're sitting in this great house and we're discussing spending $20 million on the NICE program, and we're not embarrassed as a country? When we have major hotels in our country that are saying, we would love to hire Caymanians. Can you help us with that? Why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we bringing a motion to put in a national hospitality school or a national TVET center? And this is what I want to ask the folks who are bringing this motion, because I'm certainly a first-time MP, but I can tell you I've been watching this for years, and every 4 years, this discussion comes up with the NICE program, and people say a lot of sentiments about how great this program is. Now, I know my colleague across the aisle talked about my colleague, Mr. Ebanks, lauded this program, and he and I can agree to disagree that this program is not a good program, and our government will not be supporting this program. I get calls on a regular basis, and when I say get calls, from young people who have a master's degree, bachelor's degree. They're not asking me to go into the NICE program. They want credible jobs. They want to take their rightful place in our country. And not one parent that have contacted me in fear of their children being left out of the Cayman miracle that we've created in this country have said, sir, can you place my child in the NICE program? That has never happened. And I've been doing this a very long time. And not one person have contacted me to say, I'm aspiring for a position in the NICE program. So I challenge my colleagues across the aisle, Mr. Speaker, to start listening to the people of our country, and let's stop talking about the NICE program and join hands with us in putting in a national workforce development program that we can put people in the front lines of our hospitality, our restaurants, our construction, landscaping, IT, financial services. I'd like to have those discussions. The discussion what we're having here is a waste of our time. So I would like for us to start to have real discussions about employment in the country as my colleagues and I, fix immigration and labor. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate your time. Thank you for honoring me.
Does any other member wish to speak? Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Where to start? Very impassionate. Debate, contribution, dream. Not sure how else to describe it by the minister. What I heard from that is that in 4 years' time, there will be no unemployed Caymanians. And every Caymanian will not have any social, mental, or other challenges, including just getting out of prison, perhaps a terrible home environment, maybe some of the stresses that we in this hallowed hall do not experience. Because with all the talk over the campaign about Tahoes and, what are the vehicle's name? Tahoes? Tahoes. Last night I saw a whole line of beautiful brand new black ones. And when we're driving in the back seat of that with our window up, oh, we can come in here and preach all we want. But when you start to spend time in your constituency office and they get to know you, and they find out where it is and what days you can be there, and they start lining up outside of it. I see some of the members who have been here before putting their head down because they know how it is. You tell that person, you sit in their house, you sit in your office with them and tell them you're going to put them in a database. That's going to solve their problems. An embarrassment to our people. Mr. Speaker, I hope the minister is right. I support him 100% if within the next couple of years there will not be an unemployed Caymanian. There will not be a Caymanian without issues. I would be so happy if I could go to my office, my constituency office, and sit down and work on bills or motions and plans for the country without being interrupted every 2 minutes by someone that comes in with real issues, issues that I sometimes don't even know where to turn. I have sat in this house, spoken in this house before, Mr. Speaker, about the need, and I've cried out about the need for an agency that has the ability to work between the police, between the CBC, between Department of Financial Assistance, Children and Family Services. I heard the minister talk about he drives around and he sees nothing but 22-year-olds in the program. The program has only happened about 2 times in the last 4 years. I don't know when that time was. But I know when I drive around my constituency, and this is why I hope that he is correct, and I hope that this government can deliver on the promise he made that we will not have a single untrained, unemployed Caymanian within these 4 years. Because when I drive through Rock Hole and I find someone sleeping in their car or sleeping on the back Uncle Clem's or sleeping in cardboard boxes on the government property in Rock Hole, I don't know if that database is going to help that person. I don't even know who to call. Call Children and Family Service. Is there a child there? I don't even know. The child could be dead. The child could be in the bush. The child could be home by itself. Immigration, is it CBC? Is it Caymanian? I don't know. DFA, have them come in and fill out a form. Call the police. They didn't break no crime. They didn't break any laws. These are the issues we have, Mr. Minister. The persons that go to your business want help, have guidance, have parenting, or perhaps trying to stay out of jail. And I'm happy for that. But there's another world out there. There's another Cayman that we got to take our blinders off and drive around and really look at that Cayman. I hear the Minister of Finance before he left the room saying, yeah, it's rubbish, it's rubbish. He represents where I come from in West Bay. And I know he campaigned hard, so he must have saw it. But I want him to go tell his people that a database can help them. The first database, Mr. Minister, you must do is all of them people that get one cruise ship this week. That's the first database, Mr. Minister of Tourism. Because you got plenty more weeks coming this summer. And bro, I telling you, sorry, Mr. Minister of Tourism, I telling you, I give not your number like free cake. Because I can't handle them all myself. I can't handle them all myself. I had a whole pile of notes here, I don't even know, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when I was in charge of brought the NICE program back, National Enhancement Program back, we did it in the summer when things were slow. We then added a second one before Christmas, which kind of then coincided, one of them coincided with the Sargassum cleanup. We saw numbers drop from 800, 2014, 2015, down to the 300, 400 region. Even at the $10, that's 21,600 per person for a year. That would mean that, according to the Minister of Finance, it would be 926 Caymanians or participants to get to that 20 million. Or maybe he was calculating insurance and pension, which I don't have a problem with either. We have one small team of people to clean up at DEH. The last government bought a bunch of waterfront properties. I see they're building a beautiful beachfront park up at Frankstown. I asked them who can clean it. I asked them if they, in fact, relevant to this conversation. I said the only thing that beach is going to be is to take some of the pressure off of Smith Cove, where people sleeping and showering in the morning. Sleeping in their cars at night and showering in the morning. That's the only thing that park can do. But who is going to clean those parks? Who are going to maintain them? All the beachfront properties that we've bought. Who is going to give the 55-year-old water sports operator, tour bus driver, taxi driver that's going to be without a job as the cruise numbers fall? Which one of you in here that own a company go and hire them, take on that liability? Because when I ran the program and I walked the room, as we identified those young people, the 21-year-old, the 18-year-old just got out of school, the 19-year-old, we had persons on hand to interview them, to get a better understanding of what their problems are. How can we help them? Why are they there? But the vast majority of the people at the Lion Center would be those who retired at 60 and can't live off of the $400 and $500 a month pension they're getting, and nobody else will hire them. Those that have some problems that they cannot work consistently, whether it's a substance abuse problem. And by the way, they don't get to show up and leave when they want to when you run the program. But they managed to pull off the 2 weeks or the 3 weeks. They may even be able to pull off 3 or 4 months. But the thing is that when you have them there, you can work with them. How are you going to identify the issues that these folks are facing to put them in this national database to help them with those issues? Is it going to be the Department of Financial Assistance? Are you going to add to their job now to evaluate the person's issues? Which one of the agencies are going to deal with them? Who is going to miraculously fix all of those issues this year? Who is going to fix those issues before Christmas so they can buy their child a toy? Who is going to fix their issues this summer so they can pay the electricity bill when the heat goes through the roof? And the possibility still lingers of oil prices going sky high. Who is going to do that? Let me ask a question too. I guess, God forbid that we don't have any hurricanes, but if we have a little storm and trees are down and roads are blocked and communities are in a mess, I guess you're not going to pay nobody to clean that up either. I don't understand the mentality. I appreciate the plan that the minister has laid out. But to just disregarding and calling the program an insult to the Caymanian people, an insult to the hundreds of people that have participated in it over the years. I don't understand that, Mr. Speaker. 12 years I've been representing my people. I wish I could snap my finger and fix their problems for them. It would take a lot of stress off of me. I can't even get government to put on roofs over an 85-year-old woman's house that water's falling on her head. I have a lady that I have submitted her twice down in the swamp that I had to buy the materials to block up around her house because when it rained, she walked around in ankle-high water for days. And the minister says that helping these people is an insult, an embarrassment to our country. I guess even more embarrassing than going across by 7-Elevens there and Reflections and seeing the 6 or 7 people sitting there with nothing to do. Or I invite the minister to come with me 3 o'clock in the morning down the back of Rockwell. We have to take off the blinders, Mr. Speaker. The one thing he said that was true is that our people have real issues. And every time we do this program, they have proven just what he said. They are willing to work. They just have challenges, but they're happy for the opportunity to make a living. Now, we can expand on the program. There was a proposal in the last administration that anyone coming to DFA needed to go and volunteer or go do a job or get a job, but they wouldn't be at DFA if they already had a job, but they needed to go and volunteer somewhere to show that they could work. This would be an excellent program, Mr. Speaker, that persons that walk in and say, I am unemployed, and DFA looks at them and say, but you're a hard, young, fit, single-body man, hard. You can go out there and work, or woman. This would be a great program to put them in. And it's not just picking up garbage. And I can tell the minister something else. I visited every team each time I ran the program, and the people that did it were beaming with pride. The retirees, those who had issues, persons who were just in between jobs with construction, because that is construction. Construction is an industry where it's feast and famine. And they were all very proud of the job they were doing. Many saw it as giving back to their community. Many saw it as giving back to their community. But it also gave a lot of them hope. Mr. Speaker, I brought a motion in 2023 similar to this, and I gave permission to Mr. Tatum sent it to me, and I was like, oh, wow. But I had a lot of detail, and I'm happy to share that motion. I think, actually, in fact, I remember the now minister called me after that motion to say he disagreed with it, so it probably makes no sense to send him my debate on that motion. But the idea of running the program year-round has a lot of opportunity for expansion from the program. It has a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity there to do a lot of the things that the minister talked about. And we used to do that. We used to do that. The minister spoke that the people that are coming to him have masters and all sorts of degrees. I don't have those people, Mr. Speaker. Every now and then. Those aren't the people we're talking about. Those aren't the people we're talking about, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, he said that no parent aspires to have their children in the program. Mr. Speaker, it is the parents that have to call me to get their children in the program when we run it. But the wonderful thing about that is that the parents force, or the mother force the child to come to the program, and then now we have the child there that we can work with the child. Now we can get him in to see how we can help him break those barriers that the minister loves to talk about. How do we break those barriers for him to find that confidence, to get over whatever that hurdle is that he's experiencing, to go out and find gainful, full-time employment? Because I can tell you, whilst perhaps the parent did not aspire for their child to be a part of the NICE program, it is the parents who call us to help them fill out the registration forms for their children. Mr. Speaker, far too often we here in the Cayman Islands drive around and look at people and cast all sort of assertions, make all sorts of accusations towards, oh, look at that, you know, and comments towards them. Oh, you can see the ambition falling out of him and blah, blah, blah. We don't know what they went through. We don't know what they're going through. So many of our Caymanian people, and this is where I agree with him on working to ensure that those who are in the workforce as well are upskilled. But many of us are one event away from entering hardship. Maybe some of us have been there. Maybe some of us have fought evils before that have kept us down. Nobody knows our stories in the same way we don't know their story. But as a government, we have a responsibility where we can to help our people, to help those who need, the most vulnerable, the forgotten Caymanians, that we don't know. celebrating all of the wonderful stories, the victories, celebrating our Caymanian people. But today we're talking about the ones that we ignore. Today we are talking about the ones that we drive by with our blinders on. Today we are talking about the ones that don't have a voice. Today we are talking about the ones that we all drive by and say, look at them. That's who we're talking about today, Mr. Speaker. And I don't know which one of us don't have people in our districts, in our constituencies, that don't need that help, that can't use that little boost this summer. Again, what are those who work out in that port going to do this summer? You can put them in a database, or just give them a stipend, or give them an opportunity to work and to beautify their community. Maybe deal with the sargassum, still playing a role in stay-over tourism by keeping our beaches beautiful. Do me a favor. Get out of our cars sometimes and walk our streets and see how dirty they are. Do me a favor. Walk 7 Mile Beach and see what our tourists are seeing. Maybe when the ministers visited the hotels, they should have walked on the road. We're all talking about health and wellness. It's only 2.5 miles down the public beach and back up. 5 miles total, or 10K, if you go to the wharf. I run it all the time, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, take a look on Esley Tibbetts Highway. The landfill, half of it is over on the other side of the road. Every time a truck tips up on the top of that mountain, the breeze, the gust of breeze come, and you see the plastic and the cardboard flying across the road. Walk through our communities. So, if you don't want to do the NICE program, expand the DEH road cleaning program. Hire them all, because we need them. NRA cannot do bush cutting at the schedule that they need to do it. And when they do it, we scream at them. You know why? Because after they bush cut, all you see is garbage on the side of the road. Might as well have left the bush. And they do leave it until it starts to go out on the road and become a hazard. Sometimes when you're driving through and you look, you see something run across the road, you don't know if it's on a goodie or a rat. I think we got 2 people in the road and control program. Hire them, put them there then. Give them pension and insurance. But don't turn around and say, it's an embarrassment to the Caymanians. Don't turn around and just dismiss it. Dismissing, say that you have a better idea or something, but to be so passionate in a way that you dismiss it because a member is bringing something to the House to help people, and you say it's vote buying. I don't give them the job. If you ever see what you have to go through to fill out those applications to get into that program, you know what is vote buying? When they're at my office crying. When they come and they got children and the refrigerator not working because the power cut off, and their child is walking to the nearest place that they can get internet to do their homework because now you got to use your laptop because there's no Wi-Fi. When they want food cards. If, Mr. Minister, you think that running a program, however you want to run it, to help our unemployed Caymanians, our most vulnerable, our retirees that are trying to live off of $600, $700 a month pension, is vote buying, you're wrong. Leave them. Let them come to our offices. because they need the help. And I don't have any department to send them to. I can fill out the DFA form on the computer and send it in. That's going to take weeks or months. But you know what I can tell them, Mr. Speaker? I can put you in a database, bro. I can put you in a database, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. When I put you in that database, your baby can get milk. When I put you in that database, your power can come back on automatically. When I put you in that database, you don't have to sleep in your car at Smith Grove anymore. Mr. Speaker, I truly wish I could be more supportive. I truly wish I could be more subjective in my debate. But my head feels like Spider-Man when he gets spider senses. And my stomach is boiling. I am sorry for my people if, as the minister said, this government is not going to do anything to help anyone but to do a database. I hear a minister laughing, but that's what I heard. I heard the minister speak about a tourism school. Are we going to build that this month, next year? In fact, I don't know what the government is going to do, Mr. Speaker, because we don't have a manifesto. We're not going to get an SPS. I think the governor delivered a preview to the SPS yesterday. So don't insult us when we bring a motion to try and help our people and tell us all these things that you're going to do like we're supposed to know. How are we going to know? How does the country know? We can wait until November, 6 months from elections to find out what you're going to do. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate that the minister has only been in office for 2 months. And I admire his passion. But, Mr. Speaker, I hope someone from the government gets up and says that whilst they are supportive of their minister, the government will still be there to help its people in the short term. Because, truthfully, I can't handle it anymore at my door. And the new ones, you will soon find out when they find your door. So, Mr. Speaker, if anyone on the other side is willing or interested, I can send them my debate from 2023, where I was much more, should I say, constructive in my debate. But I had to rise to say something today because, again, the Deputy Speaker brought a motion for something that he felt passionate about. Deputy Leader, brought a motion for something that he feels would help the people of this country, those who need it the most vulnerable. We are not talking about those with bachelor degrees and master's degrees that the minister spoke about. That's not who we're talking about. Expand the program. Take them on full-time in the areas I spoke about, rodent control, DEH, cleanup crew, wherever you want to. But don't just dismiss it. Don't just dismiss it. Mr. Speaker, I plead with the government. Come back and tell us something that will give us peace of mind, that there will be help for our people through this upcoming summer as the cruise numbers drop, as the heat increases, as the prices of food and everything else around the world continues to go up. Please, somebody get up and show some empathy. Somebody on the other side get up and give us an idea, because we don't know. Don't just get up and insult us. And forgive me for saying what I thought I heard. But that's what I thought I heard. So if I am wrong, Mr. Premier, if I am wrong, Mr. Speaker, sorry, somebody get up and tell us something else, because I did not hear it in the governor's presentation of the government's plans yesterday. Someone on the other side get up and give me peace of mind that our people, our most vulnerable, are going to get some support from the government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Does any other member wish to speak? Does the mover of the motion wish to wind up the debate?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was really hoping, Mr. Speaker, that after the Leader of Opposition kindly called for another member of government to stand up and speak, that somebody would give a little bit more clarity to what was said. Maybe it wasn't intentional, but nobody got up, so I'm assuming that the position the minister delivered is the position of the all members of government. Because I can't say that I am not too very surprised. Thank you, sir. That I too am not very surprised by the contribution. Mr. Speaker, I thought about the formulation of this administration and the various different members who make it up, and this is me personally speaking from my heart. I'm genuinely hoping that the good member for responsibility of labor and immigration is successful. Putting politics aside, if he's not successful, that means my people are still in trouble. But I got to say that I'm even more concerned now with his response, because it tells me that I'm not sure if his perspective on all elements of Cayman is on point. And I am fighting the urge inside, Mr. Speaker, to respond to him in a opposition type of way. I want to assume that it's because he hasn't been exposed to maybe some of the communities and areas that I have been exposed to, some of the people that struggle as hard. I just don't know what would cause the viewpoints that he has to be what they are. But I think the Leader of Opposition did a good job highlighting the fact that this program wasn't expected to be an end-all, be-all. And this program wasn't expected to be done in isolation of other programs upon which the minister highlighted that the government intends to do. And I have to concur with my leader in respect to saying that, well, we're not going to get an SPS for a whole half a year, so we have to assume that this is where we're going. Mr. Speaker, I don't think that the minister must have, and much of the members of the government know that the different categorizations or categories of persons who come to the NICE program are not limited to just young people. And it is unfair for him to suggest that we are going around telling parents to come and make your goal be the NICE program. It was wrong, Minister. Wrong in so many senses. And you know that that was not the intention. Mr. Speaker, but since he wants to play the game of politics, we shall do so. Because I can also say that maybe he thinks that all the people who were part of the NICE program need therapy. Because according to him, our people got so much issues that he need to call them a therapist. And that's what we're supposed to be doing for our people, rather than giving them an opportunity to provide for themselves. But you know what, Mr. Speaker, based on the amount of messages I've seen come in since his contribution, trust me, his message was sent quite clear. The last thing that the minister said in this contribution was this discussion was a waste of our time. Imagine that. He talks about how you had to highlight that the DFA had to come back for more money and we're creating a welfare state. I'll tell you why we had to come back for more money, because the minister who was responsible for it didn't budget it properly when we created the budget, Mr. Minister. That's why we had to come back for more money. But you weren't around, so you wouldn't know that. Mr. Speaker, I wonder if all members of this government are in support of the minister's position. Because the minister basically, I am almost certain, and I stand to be corrected, basically said there will be no more NICE program. I wonder if the member from Kimmenbrack West, the good minister, is in support of that, and shall the people of Kimmenbrack that are currently on the program be concerned that they will no longer have work as of tomorrow? Mr. Speaker, I will be calling for a division, and we're going to find out who's in support and who isn't. And this will be the first test for the Honorable Premier with his government. I wish him well. Mr. Speaker, to call this program a welfare state program is really insulting. But I wonder if the minister is aware that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members of his government was in support of this welfare state program that he talks about. I wonder if, I found it rather interesting he talked about his own company and the sponsors he used to get from private sector, but failed to mention that he got sponsors from the government as well. Is there a conflict of interest here that he doesn't want to create a different program other than the one that he's involved in? I'll leave that there for the public to ponder, because I'm waiting to see how you're going to manage that relationship with him being in cabinet. But don't worry, we got a lot of time to assess that. Mr. Speaker, it is our responsibility to keep this country clean. He's right about that. But I'm not sure if he's aware that the ministries and departments responsible for keeping the country clean, has been asking for years to get more support. The Minister for Tourism, throughout his campaign, spoke about particular areas being nasty and filthy. And he's right. But there's not enough people around to keep it up going. So you can pay for it through the NICE program, or you can hire more people. But as the population grows, as we bring in different people with different cultures that don't do it themselves, they will litter. You've seen the many videos on social media. You go clean up an area, within 5 hours, the whole place filthy again. So you can pay to clean it up, one way or the other. And to think that you're talking about a welfare state, I don't understand that, because I think I was quite clear in my contributions to say that this is a hand up rather than a handout. So people who are at NAU now who are called able-bodied persons, who are justifiably in transition from one job to the other, are trying to get a job for the first time. Creating a program like this where, of course, you may not have pension benefits, because it's not a full-time thing. That while you are constantly looking for work, you can't jump into this, get a couple dollars, so the government don't have to give you $1,500 or $1,200 or $600, that's not good. Nobody said that you shouldn't create a database continuously trying to populate it to get the different persons from out of school or off the university or transitioning jobs into other jobs. Nobody said you couldn't do that. But to downgrade this like this some scum of the earth program, which has been, believe it or not, been going on for quite some time now, from 2015, man, I've had the administration before that, upon which the Minister of Finance was a part of when this was first established. It was his administration when he was in government that started, but yet still he's sitting here laughing at my minister, at my leader when he was speaking. But the Hansard's going to be brought up, though. We're going to bring them Hansards up. And remember what the good minister, the now Minister of Finance, said back then when they started the program. We can play this political game, no problem. All we wanted to do was simply give an opportunity for those who may not be ready for all the permanent job opportunities to be able to go make a couple of dollars rather than being tempted to do other things. You're right. I hear you say that all of them workers need therapy. But I hope you know plenty of women from Prospect too. So I hope you're ready to tell them ones that want a nice program from Prospect that they should get therapy and get sign up to a database to get a job. Matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, is the government's position, because again, like my good leader said, we don't know when the SBS come in. This is the only government that I am aware of that wants to take 6 years before they tell the country what direction they're going in with the SBS. 6 months, sorry, my apologies, a half a year. The first thing you need to do on your job assignment is to tell the country your plans. And this government wants to take a half a year to tell them. Maybe he's telling us no. Is there going to be no nice program for this year, yes or no? Speak. Oh, yeah, none of them contributed other than him. I really, Mr. Speaker, I prayed yesterday. I prayed last night after Parliament. I said, Ken, calm down, man, calm down. I know you're fiery. Members say your passion got to be under control. And I came here today and I said, you know what? Allow that, man. Me and Gary had a good little conversation outside. Sorry, my apologies, not Gary. The Deputy Premier. I said, you know what? Because a good minister, J.E. Banks, positive. We always have good conversations about these things and we try to figure it out and working together. The minister wouldn't even have the decency to say, let me call the member and see what the intent is here. Member, we plan to do this, and do you think that still makes sense there? Come inside here and insult us about a welfare program. You faced it. Welfare program, boy, I tell you. I'm going to put it down to rookie, rookie mistakes in Parliament. But who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? You act on behalf of your government. I'm assuming that the good Premier would have sat with his team, and if I know the Premier well, I know he did that to collectively decide what they were going to do moving forward. But to deliver in that right to undermine this program, it's going to take time for the efforts upon which the minister highlighted to be implemented, to reform the immigration system, reform the labor system, reform the educational opportunities and training and upskill systems. That you don't have to have this program in existence. But I can tell you this, no matter which country you go to, there will always be a small pocket of people who would need this type of program to have an opportunity of an income. And when they don't have that opportunity, they're left to other measures to have an income. And it's either one, something of illegal behavior, or the welfare state. And neither one of them are good. Neither one. Now, it's not our intention to have hundreds and hundreds of people on this welfare program that the good minister called it. Even everybody called it a nice program. He called it the welfare program. But if you started something like that today while working in tandem with the efforts of the administration, maybe by the end of this administration, the government can get up and say, we started this program with 500 people per year on the program. By the time we were finished, with only 50 people working on it. That's what you should have got up and said. Not call it a welfare state. I tell you what, I hope the 600 people who were last on it heard what he said. They need therapy, Mr. Speaker, is what he said. Yes, we have problems. A lot of our people have gone through the struggles. A lot of our people have gone through a lot of struggles and depression and where we have failed. All of us have failed to create the best place for Caymanians to be perfect for each and every one. We all failed in it together. But while we try to solve it to undermine them, that is disappointing. Mr. Speaker, you know what part was the most insulting? The vote buy-in part. The vote buy-in part. Mr. Speaker, the good minister, the Honorable J.E. Banks, was in charge of it. Was he suggesting that that good minister from Northside was vote buy-in when he implemented it in the last time? Did he suggest that the administration with the Honorable Wayne Panton, the Honorable Andre E. Banks, the Honorable Catherine Wilkes, the Honorable Isaac Rankin, the Honorable Heather Borden was vote buy-in when we did it in the last administration? Is that what he's suggesting? Or maybe there's a division in policy over there. You see, Mr. Speaker, I recognize one thing. He wasn't a part of the ones that came here before, you know. He a part of the new crew, the purple people leaders. But they're going to learn a little lesson of politics in society and realities, because more and more knocks going to knock on his door. Maybe he don't care. I don't know. And I heard this rumor that he won't want to do one term, so maybe he doesn't care either way. I don't know. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to know more importantly, because it seems as if this motion is not going to succeed and it will not get the support by members. But I want to know which one of the members agree with the words the Honorable Minister of Labour, Caymanian Labour, well, it is Caymanian Labour and what? Immigration. And immigration said, do they support his position? Because I'm going to tie each and every one of you to what he said. Does the Deputy Premier believe that our people need therapy? Does the Minister Rankin believe? Sorry, my apologies. Yes, thank you, sir. Does the good Minister for Culture and Heritage believe that this discussion is a waste of our time? Does the good minister from Kimmenbrock West believe this program should be done away with? I wonder if Kimmenbrock people are listening. Mr. Speaker, I want to let this honorable House know that I do have every intention to call a division on this. Mr. Speaker, you know the interesting part is that he said that this motion was a waste of time and this is not under this government, and that's why I attached it to every member, you know. He said this government, he spoke in collective. And the other part, before I go into where I was going with that, he said, and this is where I can see the brick in the foundation starting to crack. He said, Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure what a good minister J.E. Banks said, but we're going to have to agree to disagree. What that mean? What does he mean by that? So does the minister, E. Banks, agree with you or don't agree with you? Or you don't agree with the minister? Which one it is? Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I got to focus my attention on you. Mr. Speaker, the part I was going to just now before I highlighted that part about his disagreement with the Honorable Minister E. Banks. Good start, my friend. Going down the right road. You say you didn't like this plan. We offered one. What is yours? Because your SBS not coming now. So you get elected, and you're going to take a half a year to tell me what you're going to do. But we present a potential solution to something, maybe not much, not solving all the employment problems, but for those people who may need a little help, like you heard a good leader say, cruise numbers down. What your plan is, why don't you respond with saying, no, we don't want that program. This is the program that we're going to implement. But no, we got to wait a half a year to hear what that is. Half a year. You imagine you're running a society as large as this. But you know what? Let me not preempt bills. I remember the standing order said, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I could feel it in my ear, you know. That's why I say, hold on, Kenneth, remember the standing order. You can't be preemptive. Anticipate. But that debate plans to be fun tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, this program has been in place for 15 years. 15 or 2015? 10 years. Plus 4. 15 years? 16. But all that time, it's been a waste of time. It was Pride. That's what the name was, Pride, upon which the Minister of Finance was a part of. Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to go on anymore. I just want to say I am very disappointed. Very disappointed. I kind of anticipated they probably wouldn't have supported. They would have gone down the argument, okay, the finances are supported with it, connected to it, then they can't afford it. But to throw it underneath the bus with such disdain, wow. Wow. I hope every member and on the constituents heard what the government's position is. Because I am almost certain there was nice workers from every constituency in this country. And Mr. Speaker, allow me to talk about the money. I forgot about that. I think there was a suggestion. You see, Mr. Speaker, sometimes I like to trick them, you know. You see how I run outside the room? I make some think that I'm not listening by giving away my secret, and I turns on YouTube real quick and shove this in my ear and go outside in the back so I can listen to every word they say. So I was listening quite closely. I couldn't quite hear who it was that suggested the $20 million because the camera was on the minister. But I have a good idea who it was. Now, if it's $20 million full-time, that would mean that they have no intention of trying to get anybody off the program. You see, that wasn't our plan. Our plan was it was a transition until you sort out the rest of the stuff. And I genuinely believe that the government shares our viewpoint on a lot of the labor and immigration stuff, even though we're waiting for the details. So we're going to give you support on that But I can understand you say, well, boy, we're going to do this for 2 years because this is not the way you do it, and then you continue on from there. But I tell you what, every word you said is going to be in the hands of this house. And I'm going to check you back in 2 years. You better hope the unemployment numbers are down, because I'm going to hold you to account. Mr. Speaker, with those unsettling responses, I come to a close on this motion, which I sadly believe may fail. But we'll see when we call the division. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question is, be it therefore resolved that the government considers implementing a year-round national community enhancement, open brackets, NICE, close brackets, program in Grand Cayman. And be it further resolved that the government considers allocating the necessary funds to the minister responsible for the current National Community Enhancement Program for it to start by the 1st of January 2026. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those against, please say no.
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 I think
Mr.
the noes
Speaker,
have it.
I call for a division.
The Deputy Doctor has called for a revision. I need to ask the Sergeant to ring the bell, and anybody who is not in their seats within 3 minutes will not be allowed to vote. The 3 minutes has expired. I now invite the clerk to call the division.
Yeah, Honourable Honorable Andre Ebanks,
No.
Honorable Gary Rutte,
No.
Honorable Catherine Ebanks Wilkes,
No.
Honorable Ralston Anglin,
No.
Honorable Johanny Ebanks, absent. Honorable Isaac Rankin,
No.
Honorable Nicholas DaCosta,
No.
Honorable Wayne Panton,
No.
Miss Heather Bodden,
No.
Mrs. Julie Hunter,
No.
Honor. Sorry, I didn't know. Okay. Okay, I go on. Honorable Michael Miles,
No.
Honorable Joseph Hugh,
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth Bryan,
Yes.
Honorable Perlina McGaw Lumsden,
Yes.
Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly,
Yes.
Mr. Royston Tatum,
Yes.
Mr. Roy McTaggart,
Yes.
Mr. Dwayne Seymour,
Aye.
Mr. Christopher Saunders, absent.
The result of the division, 7 ayes, 9 noes. The motion has failed. That concludes the business on today's order paper. I now invite the Premier to move the motion for adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the advocacy has begun. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move that this Honorable House do now adjourn till tomorrow, 27th of June, at 2 p.m.
The question is that this honourable House now adjourn until Friday, 27th of June at 2 p.m. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say no. The ayes have it. The House stands adjourned.